Content marketers produce content. They want to know the effectiveness of this content. Here is a homepage from MSN. There's a lot of content here. If some of them you have on the top with big images, hero images, some of them you have on the right, some of you have on the left, in the middle, and under different sections. And as a content marketer, you want to know which of this is effective. Where should you be placing these different pieces of content? Which one is working for your audience? Which one is not? And there is a ton of information, ton of classification and metadata that goes behind these. So you can classify them which section they are in. You can classify what type of content it is, what type of tone of the content there is, etc. All these things were impossible to track in Universal Analytics. However, with GA4, possibilities are endless. It's based on your imagination and your business goal. What do you want to know? How do you want to define your content strategy, marketing strategy? How deep you want to learn about a particular piece of content, particular audience, etc. Many questions that come up. I mean, I was looking through and creating a list of questions that content marketers might have. There are definitely hundreds of questions. Every business is different. Every stage of the business is different. So for that, the different needs arise. Sometimes you might be just in the retention mode. Sometimes you're in the acquisition mode. Sometimes you are in the conversion mode. Whatever the stage of your business is, and the content has to align with that. And then there is classification of that content. So you can do all of those things in GA4. It's a very, very powerful tool. Do not just limit yourself to the reports, and I'll cover that. And some of the questions are, how are we getting the traffic on your site? Standard questions. First thing is our content effective in driving? How are we acquiring these customers? Are any of our ads, social media posts, etc. working? Are we reaching the right audience? How can I learn more about them, right? You don't want to go push out content to irrelevant people. I'll tell you a story here. I was working with one of the hospitals, local hospitals here, and their social media manager became very active in the social media community. She was going and speaking at social media communities, different places. She was all talking about how the hospital is using social media to drive awareness, etc. And we were measuring that, definitely one of the things everybody measures back then and still does is the growth of the platform. So we were seeing their Twitter, their Facebook, all these things were having a lot of growth. Twitter followers, whatever you want to go, Facebook likes, etc. And so that on the surface, it looked really, really good, right? It's exponential growth is happening every day. And she's going and talking about all this stuff. Then we started diving deeper into their audience. And what we figured out, their audience were all social media marketers, directors from all over the world. And that's not their target audience. Yes, they are seeing a growth, but it's not the right growth. And that is what you need to pay attention to. It's not just about audience growth, it's about reaching the right audience. And all those questions can be answered by GA, some of those GA4 when they come to your site, or if you are looking at your own platform, let's say Twitter, etc., you can dive deeper into those people. That's a different topic, analyzing your Twitter audience or your audience. But we're specifically in GA4, there are things that you can look at. What type of content resonates with my audience, right? That's one of the questions is, what do they like? And it could be, when we say type could be the classification, the metadata behind it. And metadata generally is tied to very, very business focused. But it could be also the tone. It could be the wordings that you're using in those. We did some email marketing analysis. Again, looking at the tone of the emails and tone of subject lines, etc. The words in the links, how are they resonating? Which one do they gravitate towards? You can do all sorts of those analysis, whether it's like driving from email or social media to your site. The way you classify, you can actually get deeper into that. So you have GA4 can do that for you. And I'll talk about how specifically in a few minutes. What categories, subcategories users like, which link on my homepage is getting the most click. That's one of the very common questions we get. I showed you an example of MSN, tons of questions, tons of links there. Which links are getting most clicks? Obviously, something that you put up front, right in the middle, is going to get more clicks. Check it, make sure, yes, that works. So we know that portion works. But what about the other clicks? What about at the bottom of the page? You'll be surprised what you find. I was going through this with one of the customers yesterday, and they were pleasantly surprised to see that a lot of links that they didn't think were going to get clicks were getting clicks. So you can analyze all that stuff. You don't have to go buy third-party tools, etc. You can just do everything in GA4. One thing about GA4 that as we dig deeper and work with various customers, I'm finding is a lot of other tools that were just around click measurements, etc., are not required anymore. The GA4 can give you much deeper insights. Which side of my homepage is getting most attention? Left, right, left bottom, right bottom, top, etc. You can analyze that. Is anybody even going to the bottom of the page? We talked about this. Anybody looking at a particular element on the page? This is a critical one. You put something there, and at the bottom, maybe you're on the side left. Is anybody even paying attention? Are they going to that element? Is that element coming in their view? Those things, if the element is never coming in their view, they're not going to click on it. So as a percentage, if you do a percentage, you might see there is a higher percentage of click. So if a user sees it, they click it. But if a user doesn't see it, they never click it. So even though the clicks might be lower, but as a percentage, they might be much higher than other things. So you can do those analysis. Keep in mind, digital analytics, web analytics, marketing analytics, whatever you want to call it, and there are different little differences that I cover in my another session. But it's not about exact counts. It's about directional improvement, and percentages and ratios are your friend. So take a look at percentages and ratios. Percentage of something will give you more context than just raw numbers. So keep that in mind always. If any element doesn't show up, it's not going to be clicked. So do a calculation as a percentage of shows. And every element will be different. Every link will be different. Which author gets the most views? You have several authors, what type of content they're writing, who's getting most views, etc. How engaged are your users? These are some of the questions. There are tons and tons of questions. When I was putting together, I came up with 100 questions, but I could not put all those 100 questions here. But they boil down to 3-4 major buckets: acquisition, engagement, conversion, retention, right? That's how GA4 is configured to, if you look at it. How are we acquiring them? When we acquire them, are they engaged? Are they engaging with our content? And if they are engaging, are they just doing stuff, or are they actually converting? Conversion can mean anything. It depends on business scenario, right? It could be a sale. It could be as simple as signing up for a newsletter or even watching a video. Whatever your conversion is, GA4 allows you to track anything as a conversion. So a word of caution there. In one of our clients' scenario, we created their events and started tracking them as, we marked one as a conversion, one of the events as a conversion. Somebody who did not know came and started marking even like a session start as a conversion. So when you mark session start as a conversion, those who are not familiar with GA4, I can show you that. You can just put a question saying, I want to know how to convert something into a conversion. And when they mark that, their conversion rate became 100% because every session is going to start. There is an event called session start that they marked as a conversion. Now every user is converting. So keep that in mind, because that can, create some strange scenarios for you, strange reporting scenarios for you. And those who want a free ebook, there is a 50 things you should know about GA4 ebook. Here is a link for that, bit.ly.com/GA4 ebook. And those who want to learn with me, go deeper, I have a full academy on Optizent Academy. You can also get $100 off for this today with this webinar.